What is going on, Chaotix? It is your boy ChaosMate006 here, and I am here with this PDL Season 3 Week 5 Team Builder. I hope you guys did enjoy, have been enjoying this league so far. We did take a break last week as it was Christmas time, and a certain member of the league's birthday was also around that week. So we decided to take a week off, give us some time to build our teams and get ready, just have a nice time with family. So week 5 is here in full force with really cool battles and things going on. So that is why you didn't see a week 4 video last week. Just gonna put that out there. But we are going ahead to look at our matchup against the Scarlet Strikers. Now his team, I'm gonna just tell you it because I'm not gonna put it on the screen. His team is Rotom Wash, Snorlax, Mamoswine, Alolan Golem, Ferrothorn, Skarmory, Sneasel, Zebstrika, Kingdra, Decidueye, Magmortar, and Mega Altaria. He has Normalium Z as a Z Crystal as well. So I think I built a pretty fun team to take him on, and I guess let's get into it. So one of the first things I want to talk about with this team, I've really done some scouting this week. That's something I usually don't work on. I sort of know what I think the player plays as and plays with, and then I try to build my team around how they play and what I expect them to bring. But this week I didn't do that. I've been watching a lot of the films from the last 3 weeks that he's been in, and watching what teams he brings, watching the sets, seeing what is going to come. So I've done a little bit more studying, and I mean, that doesn't mean that's how I built my team, but I just have been studying, looking to see what he does, and try to figure out exactly what his ideas are with his team building. Because a new player I haven't played against yet, and I just want to see what he's thinking going into doing the matches. So that is one way I get in his head, to think about why the team is built a certain way, what makes sense. So I've done a lot of team building. This has probably been the longest team builder I've ever done. I actually had to break it up into 2 days to do it. So I actually the other day I woke up probably about 8, and I spent until about 1 o'clock team building, and I still wasn't done. I had to put like an extra hour or 2 hours into it. So it's been a long team building process. Not all team builders usually take me an hour, 2 hours, depending on how much things I consider. I'm trying to get better this year. I'm going to be trying to get better at fast team builders, working them out really quickly, and coming up with a good team. But that'll also come in time, especially with we have 3 new players. I had to figure out how they battle and try to come up with teams for that. So now that I know sort of how they play, it's going to be a lot easier. So let's get into the team builder. First of all, we're bringing Ali, one of our newest trades. We traded Ali actually in week number 3. We got Ali. We traded our Absol out. So we used the Absol one match, and we traded it out for Ali. And why I chose to do Ali is I really was looking at him on chain at the beginning of the season. I knew it was going to be a good Pokemon. Of course, Iron Fist is a good ability, and but it would give me a Rapid Spinner. And Absol just didn't give me the Rapid Spinning option. I had a couple Dark types already, of course, with Incineroar and Mega Gyarados, so I didn't really need another Dark type. I really didn't need another Fighting type either, but you know that kind of happened. I mean, what else was I going to pick up? And I mean, we're only sitting at 3 Fighting types, so I think that's pretty decent to have. We get to scare all those Rock types and the normal types out, which is good this week because he does have a couple of those things we have to deal with. But Ali is coming week 5 for the first time, getting its debut out. It's going to be a Rapid Spinner, guys, of course. One of the best and easiest ways for me to run Ali, one of the only reasons I brought it this week was his Rapid Spinning ability. I know that he has a Skarmory that he likes to bring that has hazards, and he also has a Ferrothorn that also likes to bring hazard. So Ali is my way to deal with the hazards. I can remove them with Rapid Spin, and also we have some nice coverage moves to deal with some of his options. Both of them are weak to Fire Punch, so that was a good option for Ali to bring. I also brought Drain Punch as a stab fighting move. Needed some way to get HP back, and then Earthquake is there for many of his Pokemon. Alolan Golem is 4 times weak to ground. I can hit Ferrothorn with some damage. I can hit Zebstrika on his team. And I can get Magmortar as well. So it gives me some options here to deal with other things like that. Assault Vest this week, it's really a hard battle this week to look at, defensive-wise. So I primarily have gone offensive, which is really weird for me because I like to do half and half. But it's hard to do a defensive matchup this week because you have to have someone that is both physically and specially defensive, and it's really hard. So a lot of my team is built one defense or the other, and I gotta figure. It's hard to figure it out because he has really prominent special attackers, and Kingdra and Kingdra and Zebstrika are really good special attackers, but he also has really strong physical attackers and things like Snorlax, Mamoswine, and Mega Altaria. So you have to sort of plan for both. And that was one of the things I worked here with. A lot of my team is holding Assault Vest this week, just so I can deal with that special wall and maybe get a little bit of defensive bulk on these Pokemon. But Hitmonchan is here just to punch things and get the hazards off the field. So I have it speed creeped to outspeed a max speed Alolan Golem, which I don't really think is going to happen. But that was the fastest thing on the lower tier that it could outspeed. So I gave it just a little bit 8 in speed. I wanted the attack power to be maxed out, so it's an adamant nature with 252, and then a little bit of H, and then the rest of it goes to HP because, you know, give me the bulk in the special defensive side. So Hitmonchan is going to be able to beat the Snorlax, Alolan Golem, Ferrothorn, Skarmory, Sneasel, Zebstrika, Magmortar, and it has a few weird calcs with Rotom Wash and Decidueye, depending on how that works out. So we have to figure out how to beat those two Pokemon. But Hitmonchan obviously can just come in and get a nice after kill on those two Mons if they're weakened. But if it's full, if it's one-on-one from full, it's going to be harder to do that matchup. Next up, I'm bringing Witch Doctor. Now, I really struggled with this set this week. I had a lot of things I wanted to bring. I thought about a Choice Scarf set, I thought about a Choice Spec set, but ultimately I went with a Leftover set, and I'll tell you why, because I can Nasty Plot in this set. This Magius is a really good counter to his team, I really think. If I set up a Nasty Plot, I pretty much sweep with this set. So it's really going to be nice to have a different sweeper coming in this week instead of like my Mega Gyarados, but it's still on the team. So I didn't quite get away from it, but I'm going to try it with Miss Magius instead. So we're bringing Dazzling Gleam, of course Nasty Plot to give me the +2, Thunderbolt, and Energy Ball. Now Nasty Plot is better than Choice Specs in my opinion in this week. It gives me the ability to run another item, so I can run Leftovers to get HP back, so I don't have to run the recovery on this thing. I also can, gives me +2 instead of +1, so that gives me another little bit of options here. But basically, I set up +2 and I sweep. That's the goal here. We are pretty fast, we are speed creeping the Kingdra if it's a timid nature. Most calcs give it a modest nature, but a timid nature, max speed, Kingdra hits 295, we're hitting 296, so we would outspeed anyway. We obviously can't outspeed his fast things like Sneasel and Zebstrika, both running about 360s. So those were really hard for me to fight against and plan against, but I have some really cool tactics for them later on that you will see soon. A little bit of HP bulk to finish off the set, just to give it a little bit of staying power in case it doesn't get the job done and maybe lives and get me Leftovers. And then, of course, we're maxing out the special attack because I need it to destroy everything. And so that is Witch Doctor this week. Really cool set. Next up, we're bringing Lucario. I believe this is its debut. Let me check. It is its debut matchup. So I haven't brought any of my tier 3s yet. And actually, fun fact, we have traded Nidoqueen for Shaman. And that'll be effective in week 6. So I just had too many weaknesses, and Nidoqueen really didn't bring anything that no one else brought besides like hazards and stuff. But you know, I'm probably not going to set up Toxic Spikes. I have probably go for Stealth Rocks, and I have a few other options on the team that can do that as well. So back to Lucario. Alex is coming this week. I actually had it calced with Mach Punch for a while as its priority move, and because I thought Showdown was letting me use it, and then it said it wasn't available, so we changed it to Extreme Speed because it just gets the job done better. So Extreme Speed is going to be there for me to get revenge kills and also make Lucario really good. Close Combat, I needed the strong physical fighting type move to take out Snorlax. It one-shots every variant of Snorlax on Smogon. So if he's bringing any of those sets, it one-shots in one way or the other. So if he brings primarily an offensive one, all my moves can one-shot. If he brings a primarily defensive one, Close Combat just barely kills it with a one-shot. And if it doesn't, I got Extreme Speed anyway. It's like, I don't know. It's going to die. Meteor Mash also comes on this week. I thought a good skill type move was really good. I thought about Bullet Punch as well for the priority slot, but I figured Meteor Match made sense. I know it has a 90% accuracy. It's not always going to hit, which is kind of a problem, but if it does hit, I do have a chance to get a +1 and attack, which is going to be really great this week versus this team, because Lucario actually has a chance to set up and sweep with Meteor Mash, even though it's not the fastest thing in the world. And then, of course, Earthquake. There's a lot, as I said, a lot of things on this team weak to ground type moves, so that is a good bring for me there. Assault Vest again. I wanted to be able to tank a few special hits, and the ability is Justified this week. Now, a lot of people like to run Steadfast or Inner Focus, but I think Justified made more sense. This Pokemon attack gets raised 1 stage after a damage from a Dark type move. And I think this is really good, and you're going to see why, because Lucario really puts in a good bit of work against the Sneasel. It really walls Sneasel, and he's been bringing it primarily as his speed tier just to destroy things really fast. So Lucario actually really comes in well. So like, if I get a knockoff, that's not the end of the world, actually. That's actually kind of what I want to do. I want to switch Lucario in, take a Dark type move from anything on this team. Primarily Sneasel is going to be the one dealing it, but you could also see it from a couple other threats. Maybe Mamoswine has knockoff on it, or something like that. Snorlax also could carry knockoff. So maybe something like that. We take a knockoff, we get that +1, and then we just go through. We go ham. And Lucario really just puts in work that way. For the spread, we're running a little bit of HP bulk. It's what I had left over, so it's 40 EVs. Decently powerful. We're running a max attack nature. Not a max attack nature. Max attack at 252, maxing it out at 319, giving me nice power. Again, that's to deal with the Snorlax. And then speed, we're running 216 with a Jolly Nature. We're speed creeping the Kingdra. We're getting 295 with Kingdra at Timid Nature, max speed, and we're hitting 297 here with our Jolly Lucario. So that is a great way for me to deal with it. Next up, coming back from week 1, we're bringing our Alolan Ninetales, and I meant to make this shiny and female. So Alolan Ninetales coming back this week. I think this does really good, and also has a few niche spots. Oh, I didn't go over what Alex does well again. I didn't go over what any of these Pokemon do well against. So let me back up real quick to Witch Doctor. So Witch Doctor is going to be able to beat Rotom, Snorlax, Mamoswine at +2, Alola Golem at +2, Kingdra at +2, Magmortar at +2 if it's full HP, and Mega Altaria at +2. Setups, it's got a few things it can set up on. So it's gonna be nice. Alex does well against Snorlax, Mamoswine, Alola Golem, Ferrothorn, really good against Sneasel, and the Decidueye. So those are gonna be the primary objects there. A9 again coming in this week. Really fun set. I'm running the snow, bringing the snow this week. I thought maybe I wanted to bring rocks, but I think snow and hail will give me that opportunity to give me that little bit of chip damage I might need on a few things to take them out. So we're going to be running with a little bit of a hit every now and then, but primarily Alolan Ninetales comes in, sets up Veil, and we get a lot of defensive prowess on this team to counter those offensive bulky takes. So we're going to be doing quite a bit of work. We're bringing Freeze Dry this week. I figured Freeze Dry works a lot better than Blizzard. As much as I wanted to bring Blizzard, I think Freeze Dry does the job better because it is 4 times super effective on Kingdra, which is really good for us to have. It also deals damage to Rotom Wash that way, so that's something to look at too. Moonblast, again, we wanted another stab move, so Moonblast is going to be there to help me with a nice little bit of damage on some things, like maybe if I need to take out the Sneasel, if everything else on my team dies. It's the last thing, I can take out Sneasel. But also it gives me some abilities to fight Mega Altaria as well, if I have a Veil up. And then of course we're running Veil, as I've mentioned quite a bit. It is my primary tactic for Alolan Ninetales this week, to set up Veil, and if I need it. So this is my defensive option here, which is kind of weird because it's frail, it's really frail. So this is my defensive option here, set up and just take out stuff. We are running Substitute as well. Again, defensive option. I can set up Veil, I can set up Sub, and that gives Alolan Ninetales more staying power, so I can power through things with Moonblast and Freeze Dry, which it's kind of interesting. And then leftovers, of course, I want to have my HP recovered without having to worry about wasting slots for like Wish or something like that. So, spread. We're going max special attack 252. Also a modest nature, so we can deal a lot of damage. That primarily deals with the threats that a Will-O-Night is going to be able to take out, which Kingdra primarily. Give a little bit of speed. Again, we're speed creeping that Kingdra with a timid nature, so it is 296, speed creeping at 295, max speed, timid Kingdra. And then, of course, everything else is in HP, so it might live a hit or two, especially with leftovers. And I can get the sub, so it could take some shots, hopefully. And although Ninetales is going to be good against Rotom Wash, it possibly does well against Skarmory. That is kind of a gray area, because if Skarmory is the Spikes, Whirlwind, Rock set, it's not going to be a good matchup. It depends on the set, really. Because if it's just a primarily offensive one, again, you don't want to take a Steel type move. But if it's Veil up and we hit it with Freeze Dry, we probably can take it out. It also does well against Sneasel, Zebstrika with Veil with the question mark there, because it is a calc. It has a chance to OHKO us with Overheat, but we do take it out with, I believe, Moonblast, so that is something to look at. And then also it is my target to bring against Kingdra, as I mentioned. It helps with the Decidueye because it's Ice type, and it can also fight the Mega Altaria. As I said, I was trying to get away from Gyarados this week, but we brought Gyarados again. It just does well, and I really need it, primarily for a reason I did not think about, which is that Mamoswine is a pain in the butt to deal with, and Gyarados is my best option for it. So I decided to bring Gyarados to help me out with that. Of course, it's Mega Gyarados. I gotta have that because it's a Mega Gyarados. We are running Intimidate this week because it does help out with the calcs against Mamoswine, and also his bulky, strong physical attackers that can just sweep me. So that gives me Intimidate drops there. I am bringing the Dragonite sweep set. Apologize for that, but I am bringing the Dragonite sweep set there. We're having Waterfall, Earthquake, and Iron Head as the moves. Waterfall. No, we're not bringing Waterfall. I don't know why that's on there. We're bringing Crunch. We're bringing Crunch, Earthquake, and Iron Head this week. We don't need a Water Stab move. Earthquake primarily does all that for us because if we have Mold Breaker on the Mega Gyarados, we can get rid of the Levitate ability on Rotom Wash and OHKO it. So that's not a problem. And then other options give us ways to deal with things like Mamoswine. Instead of hitting it with Water move, Iron Head it and it dies. Golem just goes to Earthquake. And Magmortar can go down to Earthquake too. So I really didn't need a Water move this week. I didn't think it was worthwhile, so I went with the Crunch for stab with Mega Gyarados because it gives me a few more calcs in there that if I have an issue where I have to win with Gyarados, I can set up, and Crunch is an option for things that aren't going to be affected by Earthquake or Iron Head too hard. Primarily it'd be Skarmory, if that's an option I have to deal with. So that's what we're doing. We're bringing a typical fast sweeper set here with full attack. Not actually full speed because, again, I can't, even if I'm running full speed at Jolly Nature, I do not outspeed a Kingdra. So I went with the outspeeding on the Mega Altaria with a timid, not with a timid, with a Jolly Speed Nature and max speed, so that hits about 284 and we speed creep at 286. So that's what I went with. It gives me a little bit more bulk and HP. Honestly, I probably could just put it at max speed and it wouldn't matter too much anyway. But it does give us a chance to live a hit or two, maybe. Question mark. And of course, Jolly Nature, because I need the speed. Otherwise, Gyarados is pretty slow. And we don't really need the boosted attack, because we just Dragon Dance up and we take out stuff. So Gyarados, regular Gyarados is going to be Mamoswine, Sneasel, Zebstrika at +1. Decidueye and Magmortar, Altaria, and Mega Altaria. Fun fact about Gyarados, if I am Mega and I can't fight Mega Altaria or Altaria with regular, with Mega Gyarados. I have to fight it with regular Gyarados because I can set up and take it out. Or I can just Iron Head it twice and it dies. And then Mega Gyarados can beat Rotom Wash, Snorlax at +1 with a because it's kind of fuzzy with that calc again. It beats Mamoswine, Alolan Golem, Sneasel, Zebstrika, Decidueye, and Magmortar. So there's a little bit of difference depending on if from Mega or regular again. That's how it always happens. The typing changes because Zebstrika is just going to OHKO us with electric type move here, and so is Golem, but we outspeed, so it's not a big deal. And really, it just gets +1, and we pretty much take out anything. +2 would be nice if I have to deal with Snorlax, so that is something to look at too. But let's get to our final team member, which is Tony the Incineroar. I'm bringing my Incineroar this week. I thought it had a decent match, and it kind of does, but it kind of doesn't at the same time. But it's really here as my Intimidate, because actually Incineroar puts in quite a work with Intimidate, and that's a good thing because a lot of the physical attackers are going to be needed to be weakened here, and I don't have a lot of defensive options there, so I brought Intimidate, double Intimidate with Gyarados and Incineroar. I can switch out too, so that's awesome. But we are running Flare Blitz, Iron Head, Drain Punch, and Knockoff. I need the power behind Flare Blitz, or I would have run like Fire Punch or Flame Charge or something like that. But I need the power because otherwise Incineroar is not really useful. Iron Head there again for like Altaria and the rock types. I also have Drain Punch for the rock types as well, or the skill types that I don't want to hit with Flare Blitz. And then Knockoff's a cheeky nice move. It's Stab. It gives me nice power to take off items. So like if there's a Life Orb Mamoswine, that's a way to deal with it. If the Snorlax has leftovers, that's a way to deal with it so it doesn't get recovery. There's a lot of different options with Knockoff, and it just takes away the items from the other person. Speaking of items, a really fun item we're running this week, we get to run our Z Crystal Firium Z. I did trade for Firium Z in week 2, so I did pick up Firium Z in week 2 as my Z Crystal. Traded it for Fitinium Z. I didn't think Fitinium Z was too worth it, so I traded Fitinium Z week 1 right away and picked up Firium Z week 2. I think it just does better for my team and gives me a few options, and also makes Incineroar a bit more viable on my team. So that is a good option there. Really, Firium Z, Flare Blitz is my way to beat Mamoswine here with this set. Intimidate drops it, so Mamoswine can't OHKO us with Earthquake, and we can just Firium Z, Flare Blitz, Inferno Overdrive, and that just OHKOs with this damage. If it doesn't have defensive investment, which it probably is offensive anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. What else we got? The spread-wise, we are looking at max HP, max attack, and just the rest in special defense. It's a typical set for Incineroar. As you can see, it's the bulky physical sweeper set, usually used in the RU tier, but I did change the moves up, so it's kind of unique to me, which is kind of fun. Also, we're running Adamant because I need the power to destroy the Mamoswine, so that is why that is there. With this set, Incineroar can take on Snorlax, Mamoswine with a free switch, so if I get in for free, I can beat Mamoswine. I can't take any damage, I can't be coming in on the Earthquake, I have to come in absolutely free at full health, and I have to use my Firium Z to win. It also beats Therathorn. I can actually Drain Punch it if I want to, or Flare Blitz, either way works. Knockoff probably a good option too. I can beat Skarmory with a Z move. Now, it is calc Skarmory with a Z move here because I am predicting him to do his Spikes, Rocks, Whirlwind set, and a Taunt, of course. So, I mean, I didn't bring a Taunt user. I thought about it. I didn't think it was too worthwhile. Pretty much everything on my team is going to be able to take out the Skarmory, and my options to beat the Skarmory are going to put a huge dent in it if it does try to do that set. So, I'm not too worried about Skarmory putting in work. It's not really fast. Most of my team outspeeds it besides like Incineroar. So I'm pretty fairly certain that we're going to beat the Skarmory. But I do have the Z Crystal Calc. It gives me like 10%. Regular Flare Blitz it hits about like 75 to 80. So something on that range. It also can beat Sneasel, of course, because Sneasel is like frail as crap. It also can beat Zebstrika. Interestingly enough, the special defense, like we have pretty tanky special defense, and Zebstrika, if it's not careful, we take it out because we just knock off Drain Punch it, or Flare Blitz. Either way, there's many options here with Incineroar to take out stuff. And then it also beats the Decidueye, Magmortar with a. It's kind of hazy there with the calc. we get a knockoff and it has like specs or something on it, that's really good for us. But also, we don't do much damage to it other than knock it off the first time. And so I have to rely on Flare Blitz to try to take it out if I don't already get taken out by like a Focus Blast or something like that. So that's a little hazy there. And then it also deals with Mega Altaria, which is a fun thing I realized. Incineroar just has enough natural bulk that actually Earthquake does more damage than Pixelate Return. So that's kind of interesting to calc. So that was funny, and I hit it twice with Iron Head and it dies. So Incineroar puts in a good fight this week, and I really like it for that. But that is going to be the team for week number 5. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, leave a like, and also subscribe because you want to see the match coming up tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we will take on SoulofCthulhu, or Brian, whichever one you want to call him, and his Scarlet Striker. So thank you again for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I will see you guys next time for another part of Teambuilder, I guess, or the match, whichever you come see. So I thank you again, and I'll see you next time. But until then, I'm ChaosMade006, signing off. Burn it up.